Good afternoon. One of the good things of being the last speaker on the panel is that I can stand here and collect the claps because everyone has spoken whatever has to be spoken up till now on this topic. However, I'll probably wait for the brickbats after my speech. I'll touch on a slightly different segment of enterprise, and as we go through it, the keywords will still be the same. We're talking about mobility, we are talking about enterprise, we're talking about one thing that you look at an enterprise, you look at two segments of an enterprise. An enterprise primarily constitutes of the customers, to whom the reason why the enterprise primarily exists, and the other part of the enterprise, which is its employees. I'm going to focus today on the discussion of how does enterprise mobility help its own workers? How does a mobility worker benefit from this whole process? And what does it mean to be able to make sure that an enterprise adapts applications that can be used by its own workers? So if you look at the key term here, is primarily going to be about two specific areas. One is productivity. So how do we make sure that an application can bring in productivity to an enterprise? And which business processes to focus on. So if you look around, even in the room, I think we started with Rajat's conversation of everyone wanting to see their email, and most of us, either through a BlackBerry or a particular other device, are somehow or the other connecting to what's happening in terms of our communication device, so which we are picking up our email messages. But a lot of us here have other functions that we perform, either it's sales or any other operational metrics or whatever. How many of are connected through our handset device to be able to get that data? How do we know what's happening on our businesses now as we sit together? Those are areas that I think are very important, and those are areas where CanvasM particularly has worked on a few applications, and I'll draw up on a case study as we go there. Mostly, I wanted to highlight this statement out here. It's not about careers. It is about devices, and less about devices. It's less about application A versus application B, but it's also about trying to focus on the right business process. So if you look at the 4 key areas that we are probably focusing on as we look at enterprise mobility across, it's the fact that content is all pervasive. People want to communicate while on the move. So again, when you look at a mobility worker, he's trying to be in touch with his office, not just through an email today, but he'll probably try to use this activity to be in front of doing a variety of work areas. Most importantly, an insurance salesperson, a retail banking salesperson, a credit card salesperson. If you look at all of those guys, they're constantly on the move, and you see the importance of them to be able to use this device that they carry all the time with them to be able to connect with their office. How do we make that happen? So we'll talk a lot more about some of these issues and the challenges thereof to be able to face that. So if you look at the key challenges today that come across, what kind of mobile applications are we looking at? What kind of devices are we looking at? And how does one deploy? The decision-making times in these applications are large. You don't know whether a particular application, very similar to the MMS example that Rajat gave, whether a particular application that I do or make a mobile CRM application happen on someone's device is going to work on another device or not. So there are some basic constructs for ensuring that mobile productivity or a mobile worker can use more than the email communication. And those are things like ability to have a seamless device working for the application. So the application works on device A, B, C, to whatever number of devices we end up today with. To the fact that the same set of persons can be using the applications and the devices on not exactly transforming what is available on his internet directly onto the mobile, because that doesn't work. We have to make sure that applications are designed in a manner where they're only giving out information that a mobile worker can easily look at. So alert-based services, that okay, if something happens over here, then I get an alert on this and I can look at a dashboard, for example, which can be brought together. So those are applications that we can bring together. I think most importantly, things that as a mobile VAS community we need to focus on is things like the device adaptability, things like security. You're going to get into an enterprise system. How do I give confidence to the enterprise that I'm talking to, that I'm going to look into his SAP system or any other ERP system to plug out all the data, and it's going to be secure when it's getting transmitted across a network which is not necessarily under the enterprise's own closed loop. So those are issues that we face extensively. The deployment bit I specifically added because having worked with, CanvasM is a joint venture between Tech Mahindra and Motorola, which in turn is a joint venture of BT and Mahindra. And having worked with BT on some of these mobile deployments for their workforce, it was amazing that how difficult it can be to deploy it. The fact that the 25,000 line engineers for a telecom company can use the mobile work device to be able to go to the nearest place where there is a fault, and you can route the engineers effectively enough if you have a mobile device which tells them that your next fault is in near Oberoi Hotel and you don't have to go somewhere else to be able to find that out, was hugely resisted by the union, because obviously that would take away the time that they would spend in the pub. So the whole thing, deployment part of it has such a huge angle of what does the benefit be to the person who's actually using it, and that's an angle that people have to be able to use to be able to deploy. I finally want to close with an application that we did for a multinational bank in North America. And this was primarily targeting, again, the basic key constructs are still the same. There was a business problem that we took off. We tried to solve a problem of that through using mobile as a device, not mobility as an application being thrusted upon the enterprise to be able to solve a problem, but rather the other way around. Here is a bank who was trying to target college-going kids for their credit card business. And the biggest challenge for them was that while they would fill in this college credit card forms, A, the number of errors, B, the time it takes from the credit card company to issue a card will give the chance for them to be able to come back, the competitor to come back to them with other better offers and to woo away the customer. Here was an example where we connected a mobile PDA device with a laptop, connected the data, reduced the error percentage at the input level, reduced the turnaround time, and brought the solution back and the issuance process up. And you can see the data at the bottom of the table to see what is the effectiveness of that screen. So, again, leaving you with the final thought saying that, ultimately, the message is about ensuring that we focus inwards for enterprises, those who have to focus on their mobility workers and bring productivity as a tool, as a key way to enhance enterprise mobility. Thanks.